You're listening to Media Savvy Moms with Melody and Marilyn, a podcast by Parents Aware, your go-to for information on how to talk to kids and teens about pornography and healthy sexuality.
Welcome back to Media Savvy Moms. Today we are having another Q&A show. We've had a lot of these through the summer. And if you have a question that you would like to submit and hear answered on the show, please send it to admin@parentsaware.info or contact us through any of our social media pages. We'd love to hear from you. Today's question comes from a parent, and I think this is a question that many parents have. It's this: will talking to my kids about pornography ruin their innocence?
Let's go. Let's answer. So this is a myth, you guys. We're going to dispel it today. We know that parents are worried. They don't want to talk to their kids about something so awful, right?
Mhm.
We want to, as a parent, we have instincts to want to protect them, right, from things like that. But guess what? With pornography, the way to protect them is to prepare them. And I love an answer that you gave, Marilyn, in a webinar that you did recently. You talked about a little boy who you talked to the family, and he said something about a pop quiz versus a test. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Can you repeat it?
Oh, he said, so this is from an 11-year-old boy, and he says, whose parents have talked to him about pornography and the harms of pornography. And he said, when they asked if it was awkward or weird, he said it's the difference between taking a pop quiz when you've missed a week of class and a regular test you've studied for. He just felt so confident that he was prepared for whatever test came his way.
I love it.
Mhm.
So that instinct to protect our kids by, sheltering them from this, we got to break through. And this is from the words of a child, out of the mouths of a child, of a child in this culture. Like, please prepare me. I don't want to have this sprung upon me and not know what to do, right?
Absolutely.
And guess what else? It's not you that's spoiling their innocence. It's the pornography that's going to spoil their innocence if they don't know how to beware and how to steer clear of it, because it will come find them. Because unfortunately, we live in a time where it's not a matter of if our children are going to be exposed, it's a matter of when. And
Mhm.
it's sad. But guess what? We can take that and we can be empowered by it and propelled as parents instead of being scared.
I wish we would get away from the idea that there is anything that could spoil a child's innocence. Like, children are inherently innocent, and things happen to children or things don't happen to children, but it doesn't change that they are children. They
Right.
are still kids. And so um, we've talking about protective information, and obviously you don't um, want your kids to see bad things or to hear bad things or to have bad things happen to them.
It's like the analogy that Protect Young Minds had. Originally, their name was Porn Proof Kids.
Mhm.
And Kristen Jensen, their founder, used to talk to me way in the beginning when we met about how she wanted to get across to parents that idea of immunizing their children against what would happen, to inject them with this information so that when they encountered it, they would be resistant to it.
We work in a heavy subject matter, Melody and
Mm-hmm.
I, and it can weigh on us, and other world events can weigh on us. And nothing breaks my heart more than to see a child that is suffering. But there was this, I will not forget this day. It's just a lovely spring day that I went to the park. I think my kids were all in school and I was probably walking the dog. And in that park, a little playground, I encountered this young family and mom and dad and toddler. And it was like everything aligned for me. And it was like like the flowers bloomed and everything became sunny and bright. And I knew that no matter what we do in this world, that all this crap, and excuse my crappy language, but all this crap that gets thrown at us, we have these children that come into the world and they make everything better. They keep us sane as adults. They make us better. And I don't know if that's relevant to the question that this parent is asking, but please understand that the kids are innocent and they will remain innocent. And the conversations that we have only prepare them to become better parents, better kids, better human beings in this world. Does that make any
Absolutely.
sense,
It
Melody?
does. It does make sense. By teaching our children, we're never going to be able to take away their innocence because they're children and they will be innocent. Even though we, teach them their ABCs and we teach them to count and we teach them what food to eat. These are all just parts of building blocks of living in society and learning and expanding their minds. And we don't consider those things to be taking away their innocence. And this is now a building block of living in our society. All right. So, our resource for today is a download that you can get from our website, and we will put it in the podcast notes 10 surprisingly natural ways to talk to your kids about pornography. And you can go, and it's such a cute little PDF. It's got little speech bubbles, and there are 10 different ideas that you can talk to your kids in 10 different ways that you can start this
And
conversation.
they really can become natural over time. And your kids won't think it's weird or awkward or strange. They live in a world where media is around them and they want to be prepared. They absolutely want to be prepared.
Absolutely. Just like the little boy that was talking to you.
Hmm. So, for our quote for this episode, get you thinking about this idea of childhood innocence, we're going to refer back to a past episode with Paul Laverne, who is a sex addictions therapist. But we talked to him about it was episode 217, Is My Child or Teen Addicted to Porn? And he says, when kids are exposed to pornography, they don't have a prior context or the cognitive development to understand what is right or wrong, healthy or unhealthy. There are no boundaries or qualifying statements in online pornography. There's no disclaimer flashing across the screen warning this is abnormal, abhorrent behavior. That information needs to come from us.
Word. We're the
Yeah.
parents. Yep. All right. So, our challenge today, because this is a myth, and so we want to dispel this myth. So, our challenge to you is to talk to a peer, talk to your friend or your spouse about what you learned today in the podcast. That talking to our children about pornography is not going to spoil their innocence, that it's actually going to empower them.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Media Savvy Moms podcast. For detailed show notes and links to any of the resources mentioned today, visit parentsaware.info. To connect with us on social media, find us on Instagram at Media Savvy Moms and on Facebook and Twitter